To be known for building the world's slowest boat was not what I was setting out to do. I was fortunate enough to grow up on the water, and my dad was a boat nut, and he wasn't so much a sailing boat nut, but a fisherman powerboat nut. Our goal was to try to find a method of propulsion that was reliable, and there wasn't any. I was at home about 16 years old, and my buddy came over, and lo and behold, this pal that came over said, why don't you make them like a golf cart, make them electric. So that night I went downstairs for dinner. I said to my dad, hey, Kurt says we should make our boat electric, like a golf cart. He looked up kind of at the sky and said, I've never been in a golf cart that didn't work. That's what we were trying to achieve, reliability. He gave me $300, and I drove to Taylor Dunn Golf Carts in Anaheim and bought the crummiest golf cart ever, brought it home, and proceeded to take our gas engine out of our 20-foot. We put the electric motor in. It was the size of a shoebox. My mom and dad were about 300 yards down the street. I called up my best pal, who's still my best pal. He hooked up the wires and such, and off we go.
I just remember being in the boat, and it was a work in progress, so it was kind of cluttered with a lot of things, but it basically worked.
We were so astonished by how much power that it had. That was our water taxi for us, and it was never intended to be sold to anybody. It worked beautifully for us. What kept happening was wherever I go, people would say, what the heck is making that go? There's no smoke, there's no noise. And that was 30,000 boats ago, and more than 52 years ago. It's astonishing. I just don't know how this happened. All of a sudden I'm 69 years old, and we have this tremendous following all over the world, and it's just growing.
I love being on the water. I never get tired of going out in the Duffy boat with friends or with our family. When the kids were little, it was almost like having a big playpen. You just toss them in there, and we could all go out, turn on the music, and dance around and have a really fun time.
Our parents just let us go, and that's what I miss, is that my kids never got to do that. But the harbor for us was a place that our parents would just say, well, come back before dark. And I can't imagine saying that to one of my kids. I've spent my whole life trying to find another Newport beach. There are not very many of them. I got invited to be on the first ever Harbor Commission. Their objective was to try and get people who actually use the harbor to give suggestions to the council on how to run it and operate it and what it needed, because most of the council don't end up being much of boaters or use the harbor. But when it comes to managing things like dredging, docks, maintenance, pilings, installation, water quality, various issues you have with charter boats, and on and on and on, it's a very complex matrix to run a harbor. I believe this foundation that we've established will provide the necessary funds to provide assets that is so desperately needed.
I think that it's going to put an emphasis on the harbor where I think an emphasis needs to be, and I think it's going to make the harbor healthier and cleaner, more focused on things like dredging, more focused on people enjoying the harbor in positive ways.
We are a lean and mean foundation machine designed to get the public educated about what the harbor needs, and then go out and get it for the least amount of money, for the most amount of cluck for your buck, at the highest level of technological availability that man knows. That's what we want to do, and it's so exciting because anyone I talk to about this who does live on the bay or uses the bay constantly goes crazy. They're in like Flint. They have never heard of anything so great, and they want to help. And it should be run and managed properly. And it is getting there, and it will get there, and it will be soon well organized, like a well-oiled machine. And I can see those days ahead of us.